What were the challenges that you had faced? How did you overcome them? What was your strategy?
Joining this course, FP&A, I think this was the best decision.
It's not a smooth transition, but definitely it took around 3 months of hard learning.
One or two core skill sets that one should prepare for.
Building strong analytical skills.
So I was able to use your materials and crack the interview.
Seen people who get or succeed, they're continuously learning.
Just go for the professional FP&A course. You don't need anything else.
I'm sure if at all I didn't had that course at that time, so I would have been a blank.
Academic branding plus experiential learning. I think both of them would be a golden combination.
I can say that I'm the most benefited guy.
Even the advices relating how to present the resume.
The biggest challenge was the mindset.
You should know like how to communicate and what to communicate.
As to how did you prepare for the interview?
One key takeaway or one thing that you would definitely want people to take away after this session, what would that be?
When I took the foundations course, I was able to crack the interview.
FP&A Institute has helped me a lot.
Becoming proficient in new financial software.
90% of our programs are live.
Right? Preparation is super important.
The course which I took definitely helped me in correlating.
So all thanks to FP&A.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to FP&A Success Stories Episode 2. The number one question that Asif and I always get asked is, how does one transition from an accounting, audit, or a tax role to an FP&A role? Now, we have worked in FP&A for a couple of decades. Asif and I have a lot of experience in FP&A. Nothing brings us more joy, or nothing brings a coach so much joy when our students, when our mentees are able to make that transition and get that FP&A role or succeed in that FP&A role, right? So I'm extremely excited to connect with you all on this episode, where we not only have one or two, but we have 4 success stories who were able to transition from a non-FP&A role to an FP&A role. And it is amazing to see their transition and how they have been able to succeed in their roles. And that's what excites us. That's what keeps us going. We'll understand a little bit about all their journeys as well. Before we begin, both Asif and I have been training since probably 5 years now. 2018 when I launched my first course, FP&A Foundations. 2022 is when Asif published his best-selling book all about FP&A, which is a super popular book now, and it is your go-to book when it comes to FP&A. End of 22 is when we collaborated and brought the first FP&A masterclass, which is now successfully completed 14 batches, and the 15th batch is now open for enrollment. Moving into 23, a lot of new courses were launched. The self-paced version of FP&A Launchpad course, which is an 8 weeks FP&A Launchpad course, which covers all the basics, that was launched in 23. Then people came with the feedback saying that we want to learn financial modeling, we want to learn Power BI. All of that are in the FP&A umbrella, right? So people want to learn those skills as well. Master Financial Modeling for FP&A course, which is done successful. 8 batches have been successfully completed. We launched our Power BI for Finance course, which again got some great reception. And finally, 23 is when we took that plunge and Asif and I into this full-time, and we rebranded ourselves as FP&A Professionals Institute. And under the FP&A Professionals Institute, we are now running multiple programs. Our signature program being the 6-month program, which is called Certified Global FP&A Professional, which is an advanced program, over 100 hours of content, and over 6 months of live sessions as well. Then a lot of challenges and quiz and all those smaller activities are undertaken basically to help spread awareness around FP&A. Let me give you an interesting fact. We did a CFO survey, and interestingly, 79% of the CFOs said that they are finding it increasingly difficult to spot the right FP&A talent or hire the right FP&A talent. That's what keeps us going. Asif also published his second book in 2024, which is From Accounting to FP&A. We also launched our AI for Finance and FP&A course, which is currently the first batch is ongoing. That has also again got some great reception. This has been our journey for 2024. One thing that clearly sets FPI apart is that we have always been trying to focus on practical aspects, practical courses. Asif and I are extremely passionate about helping finance professionals upskill right? So that is what has brought us together. As if you want to add anything to the journey so far.
No, I think you've covered mostly everything. One thing I want to just add is we are still very early, or we are still very young in terms of the organization. We'll be coming up with improvements. We'll be coming up with new programs during the next few months, coming years. So stay tuned for that. And thank you so much. Most of you who are here have been supporting us throughout the last couple of years. So I just wanted to thank everybody for that as well.
Great, happy to partner with you, Asif. So today we bring to you not just one, but 4 success stories. So we have with us today Bharat, Sagar, Zaid, and Rohit, right? So we will understand a little bit about their journey, how they were able to transition into FP&A roles, or within their current FP&A roles, what are their challenges and how they are able to navigate those challenges. So we'll understand a little bit about their story as and when we progress in this session. Just a quick mention of the upcoming programs. This next week, we have from 8th October to 10th October, we have a 3-day budgeting and forecasting bootcamp coming up. That's what you see on the left. This is a comprehensive training program for 3 days, covering all the aspects of budgeting and forecasting. And then we have a very interesting in-person finance leadership workshop, right? So this will be in Dubai at Metropolitan Hotel, full day, 19th October, Saturday. What finance people generally do is that they are busy learning finance and accounting so much so that they ignore the leadership skills and team leading skills. This is what FLM tries to cover in a full day in-person workshop. And we have our certified global FP&A professional cohort 2, which has just started yesterday. We completed the induction and the first session is starting on 12th of October. Next batch of Master Financial Modeling is also coming up on 25th October by end of this month. And then we have our signature program, which is FP&A Masterclass, which starts on 8th of November. So these are the upcoming programs. No matter where you are in your FP&A journey, we have some or the other training program for you. If you are keen to learn, then please feel free to reach out to Asif and me, and we can share with you the details of it. So without further ado, should we get into the success story episode, Asif?
Yes, I just want Dhaval to go back to the slide where we had shown that journey, right? The FPA journey. And I just wanted to share we have 4 participants here from somebody who's taken the foundations course. So Bharat here is with us, who had taken Dhaval's foundation course from Udemy, and that helped him in his career. And also, we have Zaid, who was in fact the very first, one of the very first students of our very first batch of FP&A Masterclass back in 2022. So he took that program and then he managed to get a role into FP&A. Also, we have somebody who has just very recently taken or is undergoing his FP&A Masterclass in batch 14, which is Sagar, and he's also been a very enthusiastic participant in all our quizzes as well. We have people who had taken foundations, a masterclass, and Rohit, finally, who's here with us, who is now undergoing the first cohort of in the first batch or the first cohort of the CGFPA program. So we have representation from each and every program, which makes me really happy. And with that, I think we should get into the success story. So that's a little bit of introduction that people here are representing, have attended various programs. So what we'll do is,
Amazing.
Dhaval, should we set? Yeah, let's Rohit, Zaid, Sagar, and Bharat introduce themselves, and then we can take our questions that we have for the session.
Yeah, should we start with Bharat?
Yeah, let's do that.
Bharat here. I am based out of Hyderabad in India. So I have qualified chartered accountant with 7+ years of experience. So I took up, as Asif mentioned, I took up the course of foundations, specifically from Dhaval when around in 2022. So by then I was into the financial reporting and management reporting sort of roles. For all those 5 years into 2 different companies. But that's when I was thinking to switch into a FP&A role due to specific reason as to go into more insights, to get more insights and work towards the from the business end point of view. So that's when I thought of, but I got to see into the Udemy and I found the course of foundations from Dhaval, FP&A Foundations, and I took it up. So that definitely helped me. And how I would say, like, I was actually working on the management reporting in my previous roles, and that has some part of FP&A, though the nomenclature is different. The name is different. The course which I took definitely helped me in correlating what I was already doing in the thing, and I was able to correlate that and present it in the interview which happened while I was transitioning into the FP&A role as such. So currently I'm working in TCS as an FP&A manager, and it's been 2 years. And I work in the shared services. So that's how that so far has been my journey. But now I just want to even scale up my FP&A game. So that's the reason I have opted for the CG FP&A program. I got to come across to this a bit late, so I wasn't aware on the cohort one, but now that I got to know immediately, I spoke to Dhaval as I had some previous one-on-one session with him. So I got into the call. I mean, and got to know about the course and opted for that. So I have already started. The course has started yesterday, so I'm looking forward to make most of it and yeah, scale up my game further.
Fantastic. Welcome, Bharat, and thank you for sharing your journey.
Hello, everyone. Hope you all can hear me. Firstly, I'm very, very grateful to Wasif and Dhaval for nominating me and giving me this opportunity. About me, I'm an Indian based in Dubai. It's been 13 beautiful years in Dubai. I'm qualified finance professional, and I've worked with various multinational companies. Joining this course, FP&A, I think this was the best decision, I would say. I'm not trying to exaggerate, but there's always, a phase comes, whether you call it a middle age crisis, where you have all the, big banners in your resume, and then you have worked in various streams of finance, but then, yeah, you need an extra booster or something in your life. And that's when I think I got in touch with Dhaval and, joined this course. I think it's been a great journey. Maybe, I don't know, from the batch, I can say that I'm the most benefited guy. Every now, I think all those things which I'm learning, I'm able to implement, getting the full picture of variance analysis, profitability. So, I think I must recommend that everybody should self-reflect and then see, what is the gap in your resume or in your career. And joining FP&A, I think that will really accomplish your, goals, and then you can go to the next level. Thank you, Wasif and
Thank
Dhaval,
you.
once again.
Thank you, Rohit. One important thing that you touched upon is that realizing that you need upskilling, or you need there are gaps in your resume that it is great that many people are not even able to identify that. It's good that you have identified it and you have taken a step towards it. So that's really hats off to that. Going to Sagar.
So, hey guys, good evening. Thanks a lot for inviting me. So, right now I'm working in ABB as a general accounting and reporting professional. So, I have spent around 2.5 years in R2R field, but I wanted to get into FP&A because that is a natural extension or a role upgrade from my current role. So, that was the reason I wanted to join FP&A. So, FP&A Institute has helped me a lot. I'm very regular at quizzes. That helps me a lot, and the materials shared by Dhaval and Asif on LinkedIn and on the website, so it's very valuable materials. And right now I'm working in ABB, and I would join Deloitte as engagement finance analyst. So that's into more of a project FP&A role. So even though my goal is to get into corporate FP&A, so this is my first step towards FP&A professional career. So I look forward to converse and learn more about others' careers here.
Thanks. Thank you,
Amazing.
Sagar. And
Amazing.
one thing what you should pay attention to is maybe not your most immediate role will be FP&A role. So you might have to take a role which is a finance analyst role, finance manager role, and that could give you some experience of FP&A, and then you could go for a direct or a core FP&A role. So that is something that you should also keep in mind. Thanks, Sagar. Thank you so much. We'll go and move to Zed next.
Yeah, hi, hello everyone. Hi, Asif and Dhaval. Thank you for letting us in. So, this is Zad, and I belong basically from the valley surrounded by mountains. Any guesses, Dhaval and Asif? Remember?
Kashmir.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm from Kashmir. Yeah, so currently I'm working in Deloitte in Hyderabad, and I have overall 5 years of experience. Earlier, I was working with Accenture and Howell. So right now I'm working as a senior financial analyst in FP&A. where we work on budgeting, forecasting, and variance analysis, and make sure it aligns with the company's objectives. So,
Amazing.
so I have a great transition into this FP&A role. Basically started my career from accounts, where I initially used to do AP and AR when I joined Accenture, when I started my career with Accenture. So further, I got involved with reconciliation of the projects, credit control, publishing dashboards, and sales report like that. So overall, it was a great experience and learning. I always enjoy doing, analysis and challenging myself every time. So further, like we did many courses, CFI, and financial modeling and valuation, and I kept on like digging more and more, where I finally reached to Asif's page, FP&A Professional Institute. So initially, I didn't get, this is a good story which you should also hear. You both don't know this. So initially, I didn't get in touch with Asif or the well, but I was going through all the posts and content. I enjoyed learning those skill, whatever they used to share on their page, you know. So all the contents and everything. Despite, receiving many call interviews for the job, I struggled to secure a position. I was like confident enough from my end that I know everything, and I am doing every sort of analysis, regression analysis, every sort of different sorts of things. But eventually, then I connected with Asif and enrolled in a specialized 4 week, course. That was a moment, pivotal moment, where I gained comprehensive understanding of FP&A. That was a like phase, transitional phase. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Great to know your
Thanks.
journey, Zaid.
Yeah. And one thing I can learn, or what I would share is, even though we share a lot of, we try to do our best in sharing our, I mean, whatever we can on LinkedIn and YouTube. So we try to give away whatever we can there. But it's it's important that you understand that those are all good things to start with, but when you have to get into the practical aspect, it's not possible without instructor or without somebody teaching you online live one to one. So that is where our USP is also, that we do mostly live programs. So you will see like 90% of our programs are live, so that we are there to guide you step by step. So that is something probably what I feel you should take away. And also one thing I like about Zaid, and most of the people here are, they are continuously learning. So Zaid mentioned he has been taking courses one after the other. He mentioned CFI, and what was the other one?
Fi- Financial modeling and
Finance,
valuation.
FMBA. So he's
Yeah,
taken, I think, more than 4 courses along with the FP&A masterclass.
yeah.
So that is also something what we have seen. People who get or succeed, they're continuously learning, and they do at least one program or one course at least a year, and that is something that also you should try and do for those who are listening. Okay, so I think with that we should get in with our agenda. So what we have, guys, is we have few questions that we usually get on LinkedIn. So we'll ask you those questions now that you have transitioned or you've managed to crack the FP&A role. So we'd love to hear from your experience now. And we'll start with the first one, and we'll go with the same sequence as we had done the introduction. So the first and the most important question that people ask is, what were your challenges? Okay, so you made that difficult transition from accounting, audit, or a non FP&A role to a finance FP&A role, and it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of work. So what were the challenges that you had faced? How did you overcome them? What was your strategy? So please share that with our audience. So maybe
Yeah.
we can start with Bharat, and then we'll go in the alphabetical order.
So the challenges were two-faced, Asif. Like the first one is getting into the job, and the other was after getting into the job, the challenges which I faced. So getting into the job, the challenges which I faced was correlation of the things which I did. So I was knowing that I did something related to some activities related to FP&A in my previous roles, but only thing is how to articulate it and express in the things into the interview. That's where I was actually lacking, and also I was not confident enough to present myself on those aspects. So that's where I was able to get the advices from Dhaval. Once the course is done, I had a one-to-one as well, wherein I was given the advices relating how to present the resume as well, over and above how we get to correlate the aspects of things and present it over the interview. So that's how I overcome that challenge which I faced. And coming into the role, once I was in, so many things coming up, like the outlook. Uh, I mean, the terminologies were different. Like they say forecasting there, and the nomenclatures of the work was also different. So I had some experience, but that was not the thing which I was doing in the new role. So getting adjusted to the terminologies and everything, that took some time. And main challenge again was looking at the aspects. So earlier into the reporting role, it was more like dealing with the numbers, pure numbers. But now once into this role, so we need to understand some business aspects of it. So that's where it's not a smooth transition, but definitely it took around 3 months of hard learning. But yeah, and then it went into a smooth phase, so I was able to work on the things and I was able to excel it as well, I would say. I mean, the client was delighted and he was satisfied, so that's one of the success, I would say.
You want to add any stories from the interviews or the one-on-one conversation you had with Bharat, or should we move to
It's
any?
Let's
long
move.
back,
Let's move
around
to
two
Sagar.
years back, so
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
that
yeah.
okay.
should not, even I don't remember the things as such.
Let's
All
move to
right.
Sagar.
Let's go to Sagar, and then we'll come back and do a debrief, quick one. So let's
Oh, no,
go to
next is
Sagar.
Rohit, right?
Yeah, the
Alphabetic.
next is Rohit. We
Rohit, Rohit.
forgetting
Then we'll come to
ABCs.
Sagar.
All right. There was definitely, I think, big challenge ahead of me because that was the phase I was looking out for a job, and then I was not really, confident to take up, because the journey from an associate to a finance manager, and when you know that being a finance manager, you have to be involved in each and everything, not only reviewing but also sometimes, collaborating with the stakeholders and all that. So this journey was definitely, I think the most challenging one. Probably I call this all year a most challenging one in terms of, the job hunt, and then, giving me that push itself. Okay, I can take up this role. It's a finance manager. So yeah, but I mean, thanks to, CGFPN. So what I found as a initial challenge was shifting focus from historical reporting to forward-looking analysis. And just to add on, one of the biggest challenges was the need to develop that mindset. That I'll have to start making decisions for the business, and then align with the stakeholders. So to overcome this. I started doing my data analysis and on forecasting skills, building financial models which can give different business scenarios, and of course in the new company. Managing, collaborating with the sales and operations, it was not initially so comfortable. And when you take up that FP&A role, I think you have to be involved directly. You have to go beyond finance, and of course, your communication skills, all these other things, which will make the journey a bit more smooth. So yeah.
So it's a huge. I mean, because you are moving into a different role, the first few months are going to be uncomfortable, and you have to expect that when you
Yeah.
make the transition. And usually, you come out of it within a few months, and you get used to the new role, and then it becomes normal. I think now, by now, hopefully, Rohit, it has become normal for you. Okay, let's go.
It is indeed going well. Yeah.
Amazing. So we'll go with Sagar next. Yes.
So by challenges, I would say the biggest challenge was the mindset, because I was into financial reporting and it was more of an execution based role, and FP&A is more than execution based role. So I was completely comfortable in this role, and I had no incentives to change, but I wanted to change. So I used that carrot and stick approach with my brain. So I used to say, you'll have a good career, so just transition into a good role. So because the role matters in our career. So I would say the mindset is what was challenging, and I just challenged my brain. Continuous learning and availability of materials and trainers was helpful for me.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Amazing.
Wonderful. And Sagar is yet to join the role, FP&A role. So we'll learn more from him once he joins as well. So he's yet to join. He's in transition. So thanks, Sagar. And we'll go with Zaid finally next.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so like as Bharat explained, I also faced the similar challenges where, I was not able to articulate it in a proper way and exactly how what work people do in FP&A. I know how to do the analysis. I was working in different teams and transition from accounting to FP&A. It was a difficult task. So there, as Bharat also explained, the word terminologies. There were different terminologies for plan, budget, which is the same thing, and then forecasting, and then the storytelling was there. Okay, how to build a story. All these things. So for FP&A, what I think one should have analytical mindset, and most importantly, communication skills. This is all about that, like a communication skills. For example, if you want to come in this role, you should know like how to communicate and what to communicate basically. So you
Amazing.
will have you will have to go, for example, to different leaders, ask them questions, multiple questions. What is the revenue, headcount, and all of those things, and understand the narrative of different leaders from different departments. So this storytelling, everything was missing when I was applying for jobs, when I was hunting for FP&A. I wanted to go into this role. So in accounting, you don't have this kind of, it's a backend type of role in accounting where you just, do the accounting stuff, GST accounts, reconciliations, and all that. But FP&A is a front job, a front role where you talk to the leaders, speak to the leaders, communicate with them, understand what's the perspective, where the company is going to land, what's the revenue, what's the headcount, and all of those things. So one should have a proper FP&A professional mentorship to understand properly weekly what we do in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. That is the basic thing one should know before going into stepping into FP&A.
Yeah, I think you touched upon a very important point of having analytical mindset. And second thing is dealing with people, right? So which means really building those stronger relationship with other
Relationship.
cross-functional teams is super, super important. Apart from these two skill sets, what do you think are, one or two core skill sets that one should prepare for when they are even before prior to applying for an FP&A role? So what are those one or two things that you should say are a must-have for you to apply for that FP&A role?
I would say the same. Apart from these two, I just need to think of, but these were in the mindset when I was actually going into FP&A, because the communication aspect, as Zaid said, like that's where we do, though we possess those skills, but it's not to the full utilization when we are into the accounting aspect. So once we get into this one, the business partnering is a key aspect, I would say, that should be there. Until and unless there is a good grip on that, we'll not be able to get to know on the knowledge as to what the business is and what are the teams which we have and how we are performing. So that's a circle thing, I would say. Like when you will get to know about the business partnering and you excel in it, so you'll get to know about the business. But as you get to know about the business, you'll get to excel in this skill as well. So better to have some knowledge, I would say, prior to joining the course on that, maybe a training or so. So that would definitely help getting a bit smooth transition, because that's where I had that hard learning in the first 3 to 4 months. But yeah, I acquired the skill going in.
Yes, I was saying just to sum it up, learning about the business and developing that business partnering mindset, right? So
Exactly.
these are two skills that you would stress upon.
Yeah. So one thing I can add is I now recollect like 8 years back, 9 years back when I was new into FP&A role. So before that, I was working in audit, right? And you were not interacting directly except for your team. And maybe at the best, you might be interacting with your partner while you are in audit, right? So those were the maximum interactions you had. But when I joined into an FP&A role, you're directly interacting with the CFO of the business, the sales head, the marketing head. When you're new, you are a little bit scared, right? You are afraid that that person is so senior that how can what should I say, or how will I hold the conversation? So those are the things I used to fear when I had joined or when I was new to the FP&A role. But what I can say is that it's all confidence. So I mean, maybe probably I was less confident, and those are also people, right? Even though they may be 15, 20 years senior, but they are also people. So just approach them like normal people is what I can advise after after seeing that after 8 years. But yeah, it's easy to say, but yeah, you'll have to you'll have to overcome that initial first one or two conversations, and once you overcome that, I think it gets easier. Let's go with Dhaval. Who's coming next? I
Rohit,
think
Rohit.
Rohit.
I think some key skills, what I feel is of course, Excel skills, advanced Excel skills, because you deal with a lot of data sets and data analytics. Like, I think Power BI is not only a, good tool for the dashboard reporting, but also, data analytics. Like you really analyze a lot of huge data sets and then then of course communication skills, something that by default this is required in this role, and the strategic thinking, so you have to understand from the business point of view, like any finance numbers, if you change, what will be the impact on the business. So I think that strategic thinking is very, very key.
Amazing. Strategic thinking and data analytics and a little bit of tools knowledge would definitely be
Yeah.
adding that cushion. Okay, moving to Sagar.
So you guys have covered all the skills, but one skill which comes to my mind is the proactiveness. So you can use that in your current job also. So even in your accounting, you can be proactive in your job. So that will help you as a person and a professional. So it's difficult to quantify proactiveness, but be as proactive and look forward or think two steps at once. So what
Yeah,
might happen if I do this, or what will be the advice, or what will be the reaction? That
right.
proactiveness is very important.
So that's a good point. So when you're routinely collaborating with cross-functional teams, right? So there would be certain requirements on certain reports or certain insights that they would look for. If we can anticipate those beforehand and keep things ready, that is when we'll be respected as a finance professional, because we are ready with the things even before they come and ask us, right? Great point. Great point. Moving to Zaid.
Like as Rohit mentioned and everyone mentioned, Excel is the basic backbone of everything. Expertise in Excel is there. Power BI and Tableau is must in every organization nowadays, and strategic thinking, they said. So apart from these skills, what I think is, becoming proficient in new financial software tools. Like for example, there is a forecasting tool which is called Anaplan. And in the interview, I was asked this question, like, have you worked on Anaplan or some forecasting tool? So luckily, like, you guys prepared us on the last week on the JEDOX tool, and we gained all the familiarity related to that tool. So I told them at that time, I was able to tell them, and that I have worked in a JEDOX which is similar to Anaplan and all that, which was a very big plus point for me at that time. So this advancements with the softwares and tools, you have to keep on learning and working on the new tools every time. Every new year there is a new tool, new thing in finance, so we have to move on, otherwise we will go back. And apart from that, the main thing is for the interviews and everything, understanding the business model and their revenue streams. Like for example, Deloitte has 4 revenue streams. So every company, how many revenue streams are there, what is the cost structure of that company, which is easily you can do it easily by doing a basic research just on Google, or seeking simple mentorship from any of the FP&A professional. It's very easy. So all of these things are must. Communication is the basic thing, all of those
Amazing.
skills.
I think technology or technical or rather technological skills are super important. Increasingly, we are seeing that need for techno-functional
Roles.
professionals, right? So that is always growing, and we always get requests that okay, I need a professional who understands Power BI. I need a professional who understands certain tools as well. I think that's a very important point. So whenever you guys get a chance to work on any tool in your company, make sure that you take advantage of it, right? And bring that, on your resume, so that can help you in your next roles or in your future roles as well.
So the next question is on, again, some of you mentioned some of the certifications early on. So we'll want to stress upon what do you feel are good certifications now that you've made the transition in FP&A, and not just the FPI certification. You can talk about other certifications as well, which has helped you, and any particular things that you could apply from the FP&A masterclass or CGFPA or foundation program that you have taken. Any particular instance that you could, okay, I've learned this and I could directly apply it in my role. I think those will be interesting to know. First is certifications, and then from the FPI certifications, were there any things that you could apply in your present roles?
Certifications perspective, like I didn't do any certifications as such, but yeah, the foundations course which I took, that's the only aspect which I used it for transition. And now I am just enrolled to the CGFPA certification, which I feel would definitely help in leveling up my career. So, sorry, what was the second one, Asif? Second question.
Second one was, were there any instances that you could apply what you learned in
Yeah,
your...
yeah. So as I was saying earlier, when I took the foundations course, I was able to crack the interview based on the correlation which I did with what my previous aspects of the work which I performed in the previous roles to what I have did, and also coming into the new role as well, it gave me some familiarity with the basic concepts which I have referred to or even studied based on the, because I have the lifetime access for those courses, so I was able to come back to those learnings and see and correlate to the things which I was performing. So it definitely helped in the beginning of my new role.
Wonderful. So mainly the basic concepts that you learned in the foundations. And Rohit was mentioning one or two things before we started. So yeah, you can now now elaborate on that.
Sure. So certifications, yeah, although I was holding the, I was a CFM, Chartered Finance Manager. It include, international finance, corporate finance, some, taxation. And I had done this back in, 2017. So when you have a, long career ahead of you, and then you have already spent some, 15 plus years in finance and accounts, there are some courses, like even if you're a CPA or a CA, when you want to be a successful in FP&A role, I think you should definitely take up FP&A course from a great institute, and of course I would recommend again CGFP&A, because it not only brushed up my skills. uh, I found I could see there is a structure way of teaching, learning, and with the case studies, you feel more confident, week by week. And yes, I think just to add value to my current role, I was able to implement some great cash flow models. Budget is definitely, it's in the pipeline, so definitely I'm gonna use that financial modeling. And yeah, so I think these are the things that you should keep in mind, because I think everything depends upon where you want to reach. You might be having great MBA or CA, CFM, but you might feel that, okay, if this is your role, FP&A, sooner or later you're going to get into it. And I think yeah, this is the course I think you should take it up.
Reiterate is you need both types of courses. One are academic courses. Those are your foundational concepts, and those give you the brand value and the entry ticket. But once you get in, you also need some practical programs which talk about practical aspects, real life case studies, and a balance of both will help you get, it'll help you a lot in your career. So you need both the academic qualifications to be on your CV, and some practical courses that will give you the skills that are. So thanks, Rohit. With that, we'll go next with Sagar.
So, coming to the academic qualification, as per my basic research, so CMA USA offered by IMA would be a great fit for this role. At the end of the day, experience will count. So, what we have learned in the role will count. But this course might be will be a good value add to the resume. So, coming to the second question, so I was able to use your materials and crack the interview. So, I'll definitely answer this question once I spend some time in the role.
Fair enough, fair enough. So I think we'll wait for that, and we'll have you back in one of the future stories as well. Yeah, CMA is a great. If you had to pick any one academic qualification out of CPA, CFA, all the C's, right? So CMA is probably the best in terms of the relatability with the management accounting and FP&A. So people who are thinking, okay, I'll do CFA and I'll do maybe CPA. Those are all. CFA is more for investment banking, equity research, private equity roles. CPA is more for accounting, taxation roles, especially in the US.
Yeah, I would say just go for the professional FP&A course. You don't need anything else. because if you like challenges, it's everything you want. Initially, this is the best thing. Then further on, like, I'm also thinking to go for CMA now. These are like professional courses. First, initially in the basics, analyst, senior analyst role, you don't need CMA or any these professional certificates. These are for the leadership roles once you need to go for the higher levels and increase your knowledge. So that's all. And the another thing is, I applied each and everything, in my interview. And on the fourth, I think last day, I received the, interview call from the Deloitte. Asif might remember this thing, where
Yeah.
I separately, connected with Asif continuously for 4 rounds. Whenever there was a round for the interview, I first used to connect with Asif. And, just because I was being nervous at that time, and it was new into FP&A, so he guided me a lot, because of which right now I am sitting here. So
Fantastic.
yeah, that's
I think you touched upon a very, very good point that a lot of FP&A stuff that we learn is experiential, right? So we do it and learn it, right? So that's
true.
why a coaching program would be much more helpful. However, your career is going to be that delicate balance of your academic branding that you have got as a CA or a ACC or whatever the course might be, coupled with your skill sets and experience, right? So academic branding plus experiential learning, I think both of them would be a golden combination for you to keep progressing in your career. And I think you touched upon interviews, right? So that brings us to our next question as to how did you prepare for the interview, or if you could share one of your good interview experiences and maybe one not so good interview experience as well, and how did you kind of prepare for your next interview after that? Maybe starting with Bharat.
The whole, fortunately, I had only one interview for sure. So I am into that role since then. So since the last 2 years. So coming to the good aspect, of course, there is no bad aspect as such, but the good aspect was there was a straight question relating to the experience which I had from FP&A. So as a general question, overall, what is the aspect? So I'm sure if at all I didn't had that course at that time, so I would have been a blank, because I specifically didn't know like what comes into an FP&A and what doesn't. So that should have been a direct spot on me. But yeah, so I had some management reporting experience, good management reporting experience, so preparing the flash reports and preparing some CFO reports and all. So I was able to articulate them based on the foundations, so involving the budget and the plan related aspects as well. So that was well presented, as I can see from the response of the interviewer. So that actually helped me to crack the interview.
Interesting. I mean, you touched upon a good point where, you said about preparing. So I have got so many calls, of people who wanted to give interviews, and they just said that, I did the interview, but it did not go well. I asked them, okay, what did they ask you in the interview? They asked me, how do you prepare a forecast? And what did you answer? They did some random guesswork as to when this is how you prepare your
Yeah.
forecast, right? So if that is going to be the approach, and if you're not going to prepare well for your interview, gone are those days when you can crack your interviews with some guesswork, right? So today,
Yeah.
everybody can spot whether you know or don't know within a couple of minutes of interviewing you, right? So that's a
Yes, I think I believe I joined the batch in June, right? And then I had this interview in July. And see what happens. They look at your resume, they look at your titles, and then it gives a very traditional impression that okay, the guy must have done this. But when they open the JD in front of you, okay, this is what their expectations, and then. And it involved FP&A. So that was the beginning that I just started to do some, I think basic case studies and all that. So I think that gave me a bit of confidence. No, I think I can take it up. And then yes, now I see by end of almost 2.5 months, I could see that the I'm building a rapport. I'm making an impression on the FP&A side as well, not only in terms of collection, risk management, or the vendor management, but also in terms of the FP&A side, like budgeting, weekly cash flows, all those things. So I could see that I'm making an impression. So yeah, so all thanks to FP&A.
So my interview experience. So thanks a lot for asking this question, and I would like to spend a couple of minutes more to tell you guys my story, because I want all you guys to listen what I did here. So when I got an interview call for engagement finance analyst, so first thing what I did was I opened LinkedIn and I just put engagement finance analyst. and I looked at who are my first degree connections. So because I'm always active on LinkedIn, and I had, to my surprise, I had connected with more than a dozen people, and some of them were my schoolmates and classmates. So I just pinged them, what is the expectations of this role, so how should I prepare for this role, what are the concepts to be revised, and what is the review of this role. And apart from that, what I did was I stalked the profiles of n number of people, so I've lost the count. So what I looked at was, I typed engagement finance analyst, people who are working there. So I looked at their education background, and prior to working in Deloitte, so what were they doing? What was their role in Deloitte? So what is their role, and what is the growth like? And some of them would definitely write the responsibilities. So that's a fodder for me. That is a value add for me. And if they have quit that role, so where have they gone? So where are they working right? Made a mental note of all these things, and I was able to understand what this role expects. So that gave me an idea what to expect in the interview. And I was able to convince the interviewer how my role is connected to FP&A. So my interview was mostly about how FP&A affects my role. So I was able to confidently communicate and convince the interviewer to an extent that yes, I am ready for FP&A role. So guys, please be active on LinkedIn. So that's what I would try to say. Please invest your time, and there are a lot of materials. There are a lot of people who will help on LinkedIn. So please connect and invest your time on LinkedIn.
Amazing, Sagar. That's a classic example of how a good interview preparation should be, right? You did all the background research, you connected with the right people, you took all the help that was available out there, right? And everybody should be doing this when they're giving their interviews, right? Be it any interview, preparation is super important. And every interview, you have to give it your 110%, and you have to be one step ahead of other candidates. In a couple of CFO interviews that I had given, I had even prepared presentations and then handed it over to the CEO or handed it over to the VP, saying that, okay, this is my understanding about your company and your company's competition. Here is a quick 5-slide presentation about it. If you like it, then you can keep it. And then I just hand it over that presentation and then come out of the interview at the very end, not at the beginning. So I just hand it over and come back. That certainly made an impression, saying that, okay, this guy has gone a step ahead to at least study about our company, about our competitors, and where we stand in terms of the market positioning. That certainly made a lot of impression. And at senior levels, these kind of things do matter a lot. Moving to Zed.
Yeah, so congratulations, Sagar. We hope to meet you soon in Deloitte. And after completing the master class, yeah, I gave multiple interviews, 4 or 5 interviews in Genpact, Accenture as well again, and then Deloitte as well. So I got selected. To be honest with you, I got selected everywhere because Deloitte gave me the good package, and Deloitte is the big four. So obviously, who will go with other companies? So I went with Deloitte. So I researched about the related to the company, their financials, and brushed up some financial modeling, forecasting techniques, the KPIs, whatever I was working in, build a good story. What I was working according to that, I presented that, some basic questions, practice whatever you taught us in the class, everything whatever you taught us in the class, I applied that in the interview. And basic questions should be there. You have to be aware of the basics. Even if you don't know high level questions, that doesn't matter, but your basics should be clear. That is the utmost
That's a good
important.
point. So focusing on fundamentals, number one, when you're giving interviews. Apart from that, I think all of us, whether we are working in FP&A or no, we would have done some or the other different kind of analysis in our role, right? And connecting that analysis experience with FP&A experience, with FP&A questions, I think will do the trick in the interview to a great extent. So great points, Zed. Asif, what is the next question?
Before we get into the next question, I just wanted to quickly share my thoughts on what Sagar said. So a lot of people come to me on one-on-one calls asking for advice, and when I go to their LinkedIn profile, they've not updated their photograph, they've not updated their last role also. All these things, recruiter would. I mean, if you are preparing your resume and if you're spending that effort and applying for roles, spend also some time on updating your LinkedIn resume. Make sure all the parameters are updated. There are, I think, 20 parameters, which I also cover in one of the webinars. You can take a look at on YouTube. So you should go to each and every part of your LinkedIn resume, make sure it's updated. Hiring manager or your recruiter will definitely go to your LinkedIn profile before shortlisting your profile. So make sure that your LinkedIn profile is in good shape. And
that
it
reminds me
doesn't.
of a LinkedIn blunder that I had done. So in 2017, when I joined, I think it was 2015 or so, 2015 or 2016, I joined a company as finance manager, and I reported to the CFO. and that CFO reported to the CEO. Now, within, I think, 30, 40 days of joining that company, there was this very reputed superstar CEO of that advertising company, right? Very well known in the market. That CFO reported to him. And I sent a LinkedIn connection request to the CEO. Okay. And next day, I was sitting on my desk and I see that the CEO is walking towards me, and I was like shit scared about it. And said that, gentlemen, what do you think you are doing? You have not even updated your profile as finance manager in this company, and you want the CEO of this company to accept that LinkedIn invite, right? So that's how he commented, and then he walked past. I said, I'll update it immediately, sir. So the first thing that I did was updated as update my job profile, and then he accepted my connection request. It's super important. All these things matter. Today, people are looking at these things, however senior, junior they might be. Yeah, I think very well, that's an important point that you touched upon us.
Yeah, and I will share my experience. So I have interviewed a lot of people in my prior roles for FP&A analysts and FP&A senior analysts. I mean, usually names are common, right? The first name, last names are usually typically common. If you have and this is a problem that why we are asking you to update. So say, I don't know, Rohit Menon, there might be 5 Rohit Menons. If you don't have your photograph updated, if you don't, how would I know which Rohit Menon is the one who has applied? So that's why it's important that you keep it updated, right? So if the hiring manager is not able to find you on LinkedIn, and I'm sure he'll not. Okay, so with that, we'll go to the last and the final question, and maybe we'll wrap up in the next 10 minutes, and we'll take questions also, so maybe 15 minutes. What is the one key takeaway that you can share people should definitely do if they are looking to get into implementing or getting into FP&A role? So what if you had to share just one thing? Okay, just do this one thing. What would that be? And we'll start again with Bharat.
As I was reiterating, like getting this business partnering skill is what I felt that's a must essential to have a smooth run when we are into the role, because that plays a key role, and the foundations, as I would say. So whatever it may be the role, the FP&A role we are getting into, but if you have the foundations as strong as possible, that would definitely give you a smooth sail into the role, into the new role. That's my suggestion.
Focusing on business partnering and building relationships with
And also on the stressing on the foundations as well, like when we go into, probably there could be different terminologies, nomenclatures, but stressing on the foundations, you would be again coming back to the right thing, and the sailing would be smooth. That's what my experience, hard experience, I would say.
Yeah, so if you could please repeat the question.
So the question is, what if you had to share just one thing with aspirants who are looking to get into FP&A role? One key takeaway or one thing that you would definitely want people to take away after this session, what would that be?
I think FP&A is now slowly, I think, taking all the limelight. So I think, you just can't be sticking to one domain like AR or AP. I think when you try and grow the ladder, a lot of big MNCs are focusing on these FP&A roles big time. I know that, in my previous company, there were person kept only for FP&A role. So we had rest all other people managing other functions, other streams of finance. I think it's very key that if you want to know the business more, because it is not only about numbers, it is you need to know these numbers, how it is going to affect the business decisions, and hone your analytical skills. And then something which is we all, I think, learning or realizing time to time, we have to be adaptable with all these digitalization coming into the company, whether it is AI or any form of digitalization. So things are really changing quickly, so we have to be adaptable. And of course, yeah, last but not the least, communication is the key.
Analytical skills, being able to change or adapt, and then communication.
Be proactive in your job as well as your career, because your career is your responsibility.
Before we go to Zed, I remember this. I think we had this podcast, I think last week, right? There we interacted with one gentleman, and he was saying, I don't get time to do all this update on LinkedIn and share my experience. I'm so busy with my work, but we advise you to give due respect and you give due bandwidth to your work, but it should not be consuming entire life, right? So you should make sure that you set some boundaries, you make sure you put enough time on your personal branding, you put enough time thinking where you want to go next also, not just continue in the same routine every day. Yeah, although it's easy to say, difficult to implement, but you should keep that in mind. At the end of the day, it's a job. At some point, you might have to move to a better role or a better. With that, we'll go with the final comment with Zaid. And yeah, what is your key takeaway that you can share?
Yeah, so as if my advice will be like building strong analytical skills and gain relevant experience. Try to gain relevant experience and stay curious, continuous, keep learning continuously. That's my advice to FP&A professionals.